we go. Okay, so how does it help us as a meditation practitioner? Well, first of all, it's good to understand why these days get celebrated and what they represent to the community. These holy days represent pretty much renewing our commitment in the Dharma, which Dharma is truth, right? Dharma means universal truth. So all of these lessons that we learn can be applied to our practical days in life, such as relevant things such as, seeing the reality of the world, seeing the impermanence in all things. It doesn't matter what faith you are. This makes sense to many people. And this is what Dharma is. Dharma simply means the truth. So when you come to the center, you learn what that is. And these holy days actually represent being committed to knowing these truths and understanding it. Another thing these holy days represent is generosity. And many of us who come here are pretty familiar with this at this point in terms of just being generous and doing good deeds and things like that. And that's something that we do during these holy days at kind of like even a bigger scale. Another thing that these holy days remind us of is being committed to our precepts, which is something that we often talk about here at the center, because it does go hand in hand with your meditation practice. As a meditator, at the beginning, it's okay as you kind of like fumble around and you're learning more and more about meditation. You don't need to be so committed to the precepts or the morality just yet because you're not there. But eventually, when you meditate more and more, naturally, you're going to adhere to these principles. Naturally, you're not going to want to lie. You're not going to want to steal. No sexual misconduct, meaning taking someone's partner, creating suffering, no killing, no intoxicants of any kind. Naturally, you just gravitate towards these universal truths just by being a meditator. And that simply is what Sila is, which is something that we often emphasize here as a practitioner because it really does go hand in hand with your meditation practice. And of course, to meditate even more. So that's what these holy days represent, are the things that we pretty much are committed to. And this too is something that I feel is just universal, right? You don't have to be a Buddhist, but to be good in general, to meditate, to uphold morality, to do acts of generosity, these are just good things. So there's nothing wrong, I feel like, in totally like taking an opportunity to kind of reflect on it. Am I doing these things? And that's what these holy days help to represent and for you to commit more. All right, so what are the holy days? And often, like at this point, I've been coming to the center for a long time. So I've been able to be a part of all of these holy days at this point. But even now, I do kind of like flip-flop them a little bit. But I'm getting to the point where I know exactly what they are. But basically, Wesak Busha Day. Do you guys know that you guys participated in Wesak Busha Day? Yes, that was in May. So we did that recently. And that is celebrating the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing away of the Buddha to nirvana. And then what do? We did all these things. We came to meditate. We came to uphold our morality. We came to do acts of generosity. And then we also circumambulated the triple gem outside. So that was basically in May recently. Maghabusha Day is another very important holy day. I was actually in Thailand for this one. So keep in mind, all these holy days fall on a full moon day. So it's different in terms of it's not always the same day throughout the year because the full moon falls throughout the year on different days. So Maghabusha Day this year was, I believe, March 3rd. And basically, Maghabusha Day is a day that 1,250 arahants came to listen to the Buddha's teaching. Now, I'm just curious, who knows this? Does anyone know this? Okay, so yeah, this is important. As we come to the center, these don't change. So there's only like major holy days that we will celebrate here, and this is what they are. And then the next one, and this is what I want to really touch on, is going to be Asalaha Busha Day, and that's this month. And guess what day that falls on? A Wednesday. July 29th, exactly. So I figured, let me take the opportunity to talk about these holy days because they're just around the corner. And not only that, after Asala Habusha Day, we've got Wisa, which is the Rains Retreat, followed by Katina. So it's good to kind of know what's happening before you get into it because there's a lot going on at the center. And if you don't know what's going on, you're just gonna like be clueless to it. So it's good to at least have a little bit of insight in terms of these opportunities that we have at the center to do good deeds. So Wesak Busha Day, as we mentioned, a couple of us actually were part of this holy day in May, and we had Venerable Michael and Nick still with us. So it was such a nice celebration. This whole room was full of so many of us. I think we had close to like 100 people that day. And if you did not see it, hopefully this plays. Let's see. This is a little clip that the center made. I can't hear it though. Can you turn on there we go. So this is really quick. Who's seen this? It's actually on our Facebook or Instagram. So this is the circumambulation, which is when you go around in a circle with either the triple gem, a relic, or a holy object 3 times, each time representing either the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So you're going to recognize some of the people in here. So yeah, we had a lot of people, which is great. That was just like a couple weeks ago. And again, that was Wesak Busha Day. Let's see. Okay, it's almost over. I just wanted you guys to remember this day because I feel like it's going to bring this smile on your face that you got to be a part of doing this good deed. What did we do that day? We came here at the center to meditate. We had a patron who actually offered the candlelight as a representative for the whole entire community. And then we also initiated precepts and morality. All right, so that was, okay, hold on, let's go back. Okay, yep. Okay, yep. And then okay, you guys are just gonna have to see the slides because I don't know how to expand it. So, Nangnae, can you help me expand it? Okay, so this is the next holy day that's coming is Asala Habusha Day, and I wanted to emphasize this day because it's really important. They're all important, but this one is around the corner. This is going to be on July 29th, which is on a Wednesday, and Asala Habusha Day is the day that the Buddha taught his very first sermon. And that's why it's important, because without that first sermon, that sermon actually was the day that you had the Buddha teaching the Dharma with a Sangha, 5 ascetics, and then one of them actually was able to attain high meditation attainment. So not only did you have the Buddha, you had his Dhamma and the Sangha form. And that's why Asala Habusha Day is so important. And why I felt like it was really important to share is because, like I said, it's right around the corner. And I don't know what Longpi is going to talk about next week, but I don't think he's going to focus on this. Generally, they don't. So I want you guys to know, because the following week, we have Venerable Sanders. Generally, on a full moon, we do not have Wednesday meditation class because we just focus on the full moon. You know, we don't need to have class and the full moon. But with Venerable Sander coming on the 28th, we decided, and it being Asala Habusha Day, we decided we're going to give our community an opportunity to meditate more. And of course, I'm like, well, most of the people that come here just meditate. They don't know this other stuff. They're not going to know why it's so important to meditate more. But we would like to share this with you if you'd like to. This is an opportunity to do so, because not only do we have Venerable Sanders who will be teaching from 7 to 8:30, we also have full moon meditation. So we're going to have 2 opportunities to meditate, which of course the center is like, well, of course it's Asala Habusha Day. Everyone's going to want to meditate, right? So, with that, I felt that it was very important to emphasize why it's an important day for us. It is a full moon day, but it's also a day to honor the Buddha, because without him, many of us would not know about meditation. Many of us would not know about the wisdom that he taught. Even if you don't call yourself a Buddhist, it doesn't matter, because the Buddha doesn't care. He's in nirvana. The thing is, the truth that we've learned, the wisdom that continues on, even though he's no longer here, through the Sangha, which is our teachers. And yes, so on that day for Asala Puja Day, that was a day, it's called the Tamajaka. The Tamajaka, the wheel of the Dharma, turned that day, because that day he taught his 5 ascetics. He taught them the 4 noble truths and the 8 noble paths. Just wondering, does anyone know what the 4 noble truths are? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Very good. Did anyone else know that? Well, good. Now you do. Okay, then, hey, since you're on a roll, what are the 8? What's the eightfold path? Very good. He's yeah, good point. Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I just want to say that if we all chanted the Tamachaka Sutta, we would know it. So it's in the Tamachaka Sutta, which is a sutta that our monks chant, but they also chant in Pali. So with that, we might have to reference ChatGPT or something, because there is a lot of rights. But I have it all written down anyways. So yes, good good memory though in terms of the Four Noble Truths, that suffering exists. Who does not agree with this? Right? I mean, some people might not agree with it, but they're not really looking at in a realistic way. And yeah, we're not saying, suffering might not be the best translation. Really, unsatisfaction is really more of the correct translation. But, when we're taking a different language and we're trying to translate it to our own, sometimes one word just doesn't do justice. So dukkha isn't just suffering. Dukkha is unsatisfaction. There is suffering in it. There's sadness in it too. Many different things can go into dukkha. But I think the best translation is going to be unsatisfaction. So yes, unsatisfaction exists, or let's just say suffering, because I feel like suffering hits it deeper than unsatisfaction. Unsatisfaction doesn't sound that bad. Suffering sounds bad. And to me, I think it's suffering because, it's as easy as if you've studied anything that, with regards to Buddhism. The Buddha was a prince. He saw the 4 things that made him realize that suffering exists. He saw someone dying. He saw someone sick. So those things, when it comes down to it, is what we're thinking about when it comes to suffering. And then the cause of suffering, which is normally attachment, liberation from suffering is possible, meaning we don't have to suffer. I would love that. How? Well, he laid a path for us, which is the Eightfold Path. And then that's Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort. Yes, lots of rights. And so all of this comes from the Tamajaka Sutta. The Tamajaka Sutta is in this book. So this is one of my favorite books. If you ever come, well, favorite in terms of, I haven't read the whole thing. I just extract a couple of chants and I've put it in a little pamphlet. And for those who haven't been on a Sunday, if you come on a Sunday, you'll see all the work that I did to get it to where it is today. So many, many years ago, here's a little bit of history. In 2010, I was coming to the center, and at that time, I was only coming to the center because that was the only time I could see my mom, because my mom was always here. And I lived in the city, so I'd come to the Georgia Meditation Center Sunday service, and I'd sit through the ceremonies, and I didn't understand anything that was going on, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And I just knew it was good. And then I realized, hey, nobody understands what's going on here. So that's when I said, oh, interesting. So all the Thai people coming didn't know what was going on in terms of the chanting. And that's when I said, why are we chanting something we don't understand? So I asked the abbot if we can extract the chants from this book and make it into little booklets so those of us who are sitting here can understand what is being said. And so therefore we have this chant book that we use even today, and it comes from this book. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because the Dhammacakka Sutta is in here as well. And the Dhammacakka Sutta outlines this very teaching in a chant. And then you guys are about to hear it right now. Now, it is absolutely a beautiful chant. Even if you don't understand it, it just sounds very sacred and holy. And the amazing thing about the Dhammacakka Sutta is there was a period. How much time do I have? Okay, good. I have a little bit of time to finish. Okay, so in going into 2020, right, 2021, whenever COVID happened, a year and a half prior to COVID, the center, all of our centers started chanting the Dhammacakka Sutta. So it got incorporated into our morning chants. And it even became this big deal where there was this goal to hit 1 million chants of the Dhammacakka Sutta with all of our centers together combined. And I didn't understand why there was this push. And I had this idea, someone was like, something big's coming, we're trying to do our part to help the world. And I'm like, okay, sure. Because we didn't know what it was. We just knew this came directly from Longpa Tamachayo, our head abbot. He's like, you guys, he didn't even say something's gonna happen. He just said, everyone chant it. So I was like, I think something's gonna happen. But I forgot. It started to be incorporated into our Sunday service. We just chanted the Dhammacakka Sutta, one chant. But one chant is long. It's actually, this whole chant takes 17 minutes. We would do it faster. I think ours was done in 8 minutes, but it's a long chant because everything in chantings is done 3 times, right? So there's iterations. And then 2020 hit. And that's when I was like, whoa, that is some amazing stuff. I saw it with my own eyes. He knew something was going to happen. And therefore, he was trying to do his part, whatever he felt he could, to kind of put good energy into the world. And that was us chanting Dhammacakka Sutta. And prior to that, I did hear Dhammacakka Sutta, farmers, nobody likes durian. I don't like durian, but Thai people love durian. But there was this farmer who would play the Dhammacakka Sutta, and he noticed his durians got really big. And it's actually on YouTube because he showed the pictures of before the Dhammacakka Sutta and then afterwards. So it just makes you realize, when it comes to beautiful, sacred things, this energy that we don't always understand that vibrates, I mean, it's real. And when plants are growing really, really big, it just kind of makes you think. So I'm gonna let you listen to the Dhammacakka Sutta. And you can close your eyes. We're not going to listen to the whole thing because it's long. But you could just hear it's like power for me. You can close your eyes for a minute. powerful. I heard someone chanting right here, Peephead, because I know she was part of that iteration of us chanting it all the time. Nat knows how to chant it as well. So it's a very powerful chant, and the translation is in here. I was thinking about reading it for everyone because it does take about maybe 3 minutes, but it takes 3 minutes and I don't have enough time. I want to finish my slides. But all in all, it emphasizes the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. And that's how they retained these teachings, was through the chanting. And it's really like amazing, you guys. If you think about like our Buddhist monks, they're Thai, but yet they're chanting this like very sacred language that, you know, they have to memorize and learn. And they learn Pali. You know, they actually get graded into different like grade levels because they're learning the language too. But, you know, definitely got to give them some props because it's it's not easy, I don't think. So that's the Dhammacakka Sutta, which its significance was that it was the very first sermon of the Buddha for Asalahat Buddha Day, which is going to be on July 29th. And therefore, here at the Georgia Meditation Center, because it's just such an important day, we're going to have 2 opportunities to meditate, you guys. And I said to Ping, I don't know about two classes. She's like, what do you mean? People hang around until 10 o'clock all the time anyways. And I was like, you're right. But we'll see, because we haven't done this. You guys know that. This is our very first Wednesday for us to have 2 meditation classes, like be it one with Venerable Sanders and the other full moon. And, you know, I don't think we knew that we were doing that when we booked him, but it is what it is, and he's here, so we definitely want to take advantage of him being here as well at the Georgia Meditation Center. So yes, emphasizing that. So typo there, but 7 o'clock normal time on Wednesday on the 29th, and then the full moon. I said 9 to 10 just to make people feel better, but really it ends at 10:30. But we do have Q&A, so people do leave around 10. All right, Makapusha Day. So this actually was what I was talking about before, which is I was in Thailand for this Makapusha Day. Now, why Makapusha Day is significant, and this is kind of one of those things that you kind of have to just, I guess, take it for what it is, right? When we say this, 1,250 arahants came from nowhere to listen to the Buddha. And in terms of came from nowhere, think about it. They didn't have telephones. They didn't have the internet. You know, the way you communicated was with birds and like sticking notes, right? So how did they get 1,250 arahants to come at the same time? Gotta think, that's very interesting. And according to the text, according to our teachers, it was telepathy. That's why I'm like kind of take it for what it is. Do I believe it? Yes, I do. Because I think that there's a lot of power in the mind. And I think if we are high-level meditators, there's nothing that we don't know. And, you know, you're talking about arahants, so these are high-level meditators. And they came to listen to the Buddha because the Buddha in his mind was like, oh, I wish I can share this knowledge to all of my disciples. And they all felt it and they came. And that's where he was like, it's time to share the knowledge of what you've learned out to other people. And that's why it's an important holy day as well. And how we pay respect any holy day, they kind of all emphasize the same thing in terms of renewing your commitment, coming to commit to your meditation, coming to do acts of generosity, coming to kind of focus on your morality even more. Those are always what those days represent. And then another important significance with Makapusha Day, for those of you who come here at the Dhammacakka Center, our temple, Wat Dhammacakka in Patumthani, had their opening ceremony on Makapusha Day. So it's a very significant day for our center because it was the day our center opened. My experience is coming. So that's me. That was this year, and it was amazing. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. I knew it was going to be amazing because I was told you see thousands of lights like light up before your eyes, and hundreds and thousands of people all there meditating, and you've got thousands of monks there meditating. It was just really powerful. And that was my Kapusha Day that I got an opportunity to go to this year. And next year, we have an opportunity to do it because we are going to be coordinating a tour, a Buddhist pilgrimage tour, and then one of our last stop is going to be attending my Kapusha Day in Thailand. So that's in the works. And then another important day that's coming up for us, in fact, I think we're going into it right now, if I'm not mistaken, either last week or this week, we went into Rains Retreat season here at the Georgia Meditation Center. Why is that significant for you, for us? Because it's 3 months, and all of our monks, this is what they're doing. They're committing to their meditation. It's their Rains Retreat. Even our Sunday service is different because then we have a Rains Retreat candle patron during those 3 months because it's supporting Rains Retreat. And then at the end of that follows Katina, a big celebration for the monks who did Rains Retreat. And at this point, I'm hoping someone knows why Rains Retreat even came about. I'm going to pick on somebody because he should know at this point, and if he doesn't, then I'm going to pick on someone else. And then if I have to answer it, it just goes to show how much this class was needed. So, Stefan, how did Rains Retreat come about, and why? Excellent. All right, I'm going to pick on someone else. I'm going to pick on Elsa. Because that's right. It's not that's not the answer I'm looking for, but that's right. So there's many good reasons for Rains Retreat. Elsa, what's the significance of Rains Retreat, and how did it come about? Next question, please. Okay, let's call on Gina. And these are people who've been patrons. That's why I'm calling on you. Gina. No, okay. Blake, you're a patron. Oh, no, it's on there. Oh, my goodness. Darn. Darn, you cheated. I don't think he would have known because he read it. So, yeah, this was important. So, yes, it's as simple as 2,600 years ago, monks, they were always traveling to villages to teach Dharma, to share their knowledge. So they were always walking, traveling, their aesthetics, and they would have like their alms bowl for food, and that's how they would get their meals. And they were just like nomads, and they would travel across like farmland, stepping on vegetation, things like that. In India, and that was also during monsoon season. So farmers, villages complained, why are monks always like, shouldn't they rest? Their robes are dirty and they're killing my vegetation. And the Buddha closed his eyes and was like, you know what? Yeah, why are monks venturing out in the rain? This is not good for them. And instead of always moving to the next village and sharing their knowledge, they need to focus on themselves. So we're going to do this thing called Rains Retreat. Every monk is going to stay in place for 3 months without, they go nowhere. There's 5 reasons why they can leave the temple grounds, but they have to be back in 5 days. And it's so significant, Rains Retreat, you guys. I don't know if you know this, and that's why I felt like this was good to do, is that you have to have 5 residing monks during Rains Retreat. If you don't have 5, and let's just say one of the monks have to leave because someone's sick, they have to be back in 5 days. Otherwise, that center will not have upheld their Rains Retreat duties, responsibilities, guidelines. And therefore, you have to have 5 resident monks during Rains Retreat. Otherwise, you cannot have Katina. Yes, it's very important. And of course, Rains Retreat important because it gives monks the time to reflect, gives monks the time to learn about the Dharma even more, because the Dharma is endless. 85,000 polycanon texts. That is like, I don't know, like it would fill this room. Maybe it couldn't fill this room. Maybe it would fill it. This room's not big enough to fill it. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, there's so much. When it comes to the mind, I love this analogy. My mom said, when it comes to the mind, when it comes to Dharma, you can have a machine that can like measure the length of the ocean or the earth or whatever, but there's nothing that can measure the mind. Think about it. So how much knowledge do we have? I think it's infinite. We just have to tap into it. And the only way you can tap into it is through meditation. So yes, Rains Retreat is very important, and we're about to enter it like now. We actually have 5 months now. So, yep. And then, of course, our Katina celebration ends the Rains Retreat, which is very important here at the center, which all of you guys are going to hear about until it happens. Coming up, and it's coming up. That's why I felt that it was important to share this knowledge with those who haven't experienced the Katina with us before, and to know its significance and what its purpose is, and when it happens, which, you know, always happens during this season. And every temple has to go into Rains Retreat. There's a certain number of months that they have to go into the Rains Retreat. Otherwise, they wouldn't make the cutoff. And then your Rains Retreat, when it ends, you have to have your Katina within 1 month. Otherwise, you can't have a Katina. And in order to have a Katina, you have to have a Katina patron. So if you don't have someone who's like, oh, I will be the patron and hold the big candle, and you don't have the monks, you don't have a Katina. And that's why it's considered big merit, because everything has to be in place. And what does this do for us? Okay, I just want to make sure that this was a slide, and it is. How is it relevant for our practice? Because let's face it, you guys, anytime we're doing anything, really when it comes down to it, it's like, what's in it for me? How can I benefit? How is it going to help me? If it's not going to help me, why do I need to know about it? You don't, right? How it's going to help all of us is this is a way for us to practice our generosity. Generosity helps each one of us get rid of attachments, get rid of being just like the ego, and just really helps in terms of just having more compassion and kindness. It really does. Even a little bit. You know, you're talking to someone who donated like $1 20 years ago, something like that. When my mom would ask me to do good deeds. I'm not that person anymore. I would give a little bit, and even it's a little hard, you know, being generous. If you're not someone we all have to kind of take care of ourselves. And in our society, we're not really like, it doesn't really help to be generous. It doesn't help your resources. You lose it, you can't get more things, right? And it's so easy to be like, well, how is it helping me? It's helping you in ways you cannot see. It's helping your mind, which we cannot touch. It is the most important thing that we can do is to learn to be generous slowly, because in the end, it makes you happy. It does, I promise you. Try it. You smile, you're happy. Somehow it works. You give to a pet, you give to a dog, you give anything, you help people. It feels good, and you can't lie. You cannot, it's just an energy that you can't, that you feel for yourself. Yeah. In addition to that, it supports the Sangha, and the Sangha dedicate, you know this, they dedicate their lives to pursuing perfection. We're supporting them, and there's that symbiotic relationship that we're doing, and we're providing for them too. We're providing for a human who's trying to better themselves. That's pretty powerful. You know, I feel like when we think of monks as like not being like us, I don't think that's the right way to think of monks. Monks are just like us. They're flawed too. They're working on bettering themselves too. They have defilements too. They are not perfect, but they're trying to be better. So by us supporting that, that's a good feeling too. And then it also celebrates a spiritual community, coming together to do good deeds. And being a part of the good deeds makes you want to do more good deeds. There's this weird connection somehow. It works. It really does. You see people do good deeds. Not only are you happy that they're doing it, but you want to do it too. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good positive influence to have on each other. And then, of course, our friends. You know, you meet some amazing spiritual friends who were all aligned on similar values. And then two, these celebrations, they do help us reflect, and Katina especially, it actually helps you reflect on impermanence, because even the monks have to have new robes because their old one got worn out. So, you know, impermanence is in everything. And when we see that truth, it just helps us to appreciate what we have, helps us to support each other. And then I love this quote. When I read this quote, I got chills because, you know, I'm still working on it. I want to be more generous. I'm not there yet because I don't have the means, but if I did, I would. So I give as much as I can, but I only wish to give more. That's a good feeling to have, you know, but that's where I am now. Like I want to get to a point where I have so much money, I just use all my time to meditate and do good deeds. That's a good place to be. I didn't ever think I'd be there, but I am somehow. And it all just comes from wisdom. But I love this quote by the Buddha. If beings knew, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given. I think that's really powerful. All right. So with that, I think I already kind of shared how it helps us, gives us gratitude in the Dharma. Even talking about the Dharma, I have gratitude because I feel very fortunate to have this kind of knowledge that just helps me be better and not take things for granted. It helps us to give without expecting anything in return. And that's the beautiful thing about giving, is you just give and somehow everything just works out for you. And even if it's just the results of just having good energy, good things just happen automatically. So if you're feeling down, if life isn't good, if you have challenges, if you're not happy, if you know someone who's not happy, tell them the recipe for happiness. There's 3 things: meditation, generosity, morality. Those 3 things will fill your bucket. It doesn't matter what faith you're in, because it's universal. All right. So with that is my speech for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if anything, I hope it inspired you to come on the 29th. All right. Bye, you guys. All right. Did I go over? Okay. Okay. All right. I thought I might have gone over a little bit. All right. So, you have a question? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Normally, it's any day as long as it's after the rains retreat, and we always pick a Sunday because that's the day when we can have the most attendance. So we normally pick it like the following Sunday. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's important. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's very important to know. So if you didn't hear that, the one thing that all Buddhists have in common, because hopefully you guys all know this, there are as many Buddhas as there are pebbles of sand throughout all the oceans of the world. That just goes to show how infinite time is. So there's been Buddhas after Buddhas after Buddhas, because we believe that the world is just like, there's no time, infinity. You know, the Big Bang has been created and destroyed over and over again. So that's why there are as many Buddhas in Nirvana as there are pebbles of sand throughout all the oceans, which is a lot. So now we're saying all the Buddhas share the same thing in common, because you know why? The truth is the truth, no matter how you cut it. And the amazing thing is we all have that ability within ourselves to be enlightened. We just have to meditate. Follow the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. All right. So at this time, let's do our group photo.